Hi, everyone. This is the first talk in the service and support track, so I'm super excited to be here. Over the next 2 days, we have a lot of great talks from customers and Atlassians covering topics like a deep dive into automation rules, artificial intelligence, status page, and a lot about Jira Service Desk. And our first talk today, we have a strong start. So Vincent is here to talk about how non-technical teams like HR, marketing, finance can use Jira Service Desk just like IT teams do. And just a quick note, actually, if you haven't downloaded the Summit app, I suggest doing that. We'd love to get a rating from you about the session afterwards. So just a quick fun fact about Vincent here before we get started. His dream job is to be a neurosurgeon. Good luck. And if he could have any superpower, it would be to make margaritas appear on demand. Who wouldn't love that superpower? So give it up for Vincent.
Thank you. Yeah, so product manager for Service Desk is very high up there compared to neurosurgeon. But yeah, anyways, as Molly mentioned, I'm Vincent. I'm one of the product manager on Jira Service Desk. So can I get a show of hand who here are using Service Desk or have used Service Desk or have heard of it? Awesome, that's a lot of you. So Service Desk, it's a 5-year-old baby now. So it's been 5 years since we launched the first Jira Service Desk product at Summit. And during that 5 years, we have embarked on an amazing journey to bring modern IT service to life. So we have tons of companies, large companies like Twitter to very small startups using Jira Service Desk day to day to support many different use cases. And these use cases we see pretty common. The core of Jira Service Desk is for IT and operation teams. And this is where we first started and where we see the most number of users using Jira Service Desk. But then as time goes on, we see more and more people in the customer support space also using Jira Service Desk to manage supporting their clients or their customers. And very recently, we actually start to see a lot of customers using Jira Service Desk for their non-technical teams. And that's what I'll be talking about today, these non-technical teams. So what do we mean by non-technical teams? So that's just a term we use to sort of group together all the people in your organization that we don't think falls into your IT, your operations, your customer support. So think about your HR teams, your marketing teams, your design team. We just group them under non-technical teams. So since we see a lot of people using Jira Service Desk for these teams, we sort of want to go and understand why they decide to use Service Desk. Like we never market to them. They just happen to pick it up and they really love it. So we found 2 traits that is very common with these teams using Jira Service Desk. They often provide an answer to a question. So employees ask them for questions, and they are the one with the knowledge to answer it. Or they are the one that have to have a process, and you have to ask them to do something. So think about you have to ask HR to approve some sort of form. Like a lot of that happens. And this team faces a few challenges. They want more ways for teams to reach them. A lot of these teams are trapped where other employees in your organizations don't know how to talk to them, don't know how to reach them. Like if I need something done with HR, who do I talk to, where do I go? They also want to centralize all the things coming in. So since your employees don't know who to ask, where to go, they just start pinging the first person they found from those teams. So now these teams start getting requests from like your one-on-one chats, your emails. People come by into your desk and just drop things off. So they want one place to actually centralize all the things, all the requests coming into the team so they can delegate to different team members and work better. Thirdly, they also want to capture the right information. I'm sure a lot of you have talked to other teams where you have a back and forth email that goes on for like days, even weeks, where it's basically the other team asking you for something and you give them something, but then they haven't given you all the things, so they only read the first line of the email but not the next 4 points, and then your next email will be the next 4 points, and then they also give you one thing, and there's a lot of back and forth, so it takes a few weeks before you capture all the information for you to actually do something. And lastly, they actually want to show off what the team can do. So like for a facilities team, I never really understand what they do besides fixing things. But like, what else do the team do? What else can the team offer for the organization? So a lot of these challenges actually sound very familiar. They sound very familiar to the IT teams or our customer support team faces challenges like this. And it's because all these teams, even though they don't call themselves service teams, they are actually service teams. Fun fact, like a design team is a service team, a marketing team is a service team, although if you try to call them service team, they get very angry because they're like, we're not service teams, we're a design team. We wear all black and draw things. But they are service teams. And there's this whole movement right now happening called enterprise service management. So this is not something new. But it's happening now where these non-technical teams actually try to look into the experts in providing service, like IT and customer support, to see what can we take from these experts to make our lives better as a service team, and it's ESM for short. It's something that's been around for a while, but recently it picked up a lot because teams in organizations are getting more and more requests from different teams. We're no longer in a hierarchy organizations. Our organizations are moving into like squads and teams, and we have a lot more communication going on between different teams. So they really need something to help them with this process. And I was going to pick a company and to talk about how their ESM journey goes, and I think the best one is actually the one that I'm in, Atlassian. So I think this is a good idea because I have complete insights on both the teams that are using Service Desk, but also as a help seeker. I go to work every day, I get help from all these different teams in Atlassian. So Atlassian is currently running 130 Service Desk projects across Atlassian. Most of these teams that use Atlassian uses Service Desk are actually non-technical teams. So we have an IT project, we have a few other technical projects, but most of them are your facilities and your HR teams. We started in 2013 when Jira Service Desk first launched, and in Atlassian, we don't have any more phone and email support. So when you need help, you go to a Service Desk to get help. When you need something from someone or need someone to answer a question, you go to, like, that's the first thing we go to Service Desk. And I was going to show you a few of our service desks that we're running internally. These are also teams that we see a lot of our customers actually use service desks for. So the first one is what we call a workplace experience team. So they sort of behave similar to a facilities team. So they deal with everything from repairs to moving to cleaning, even dogs. If you bring dogs in, these teams really like the idea of request types because it can show the organization what other things they can do, what they have on offer. Like for example, from this I can know that I can order swag T-shirts, I can order office supplies. They also do celebrations from this team. So if someone needs celebration, I can actually go there and ask them. These are something before I'm like, who do I talk to for celebrations? Legal also uses Service Desk very heavily. So this is our legal service desk. Since they're lawyers, they don't really know how to. They're boring. That's why their Service Desk is really boring. You can tell. But they really love Service Desk because Service Desk, the request types, allow them to capture all the information they need before they start working on something. So they have very long forms, but then these forms allow them to capture every single small thing before they jump in and they can just get on with their task. They don't have to have the back and forth for you, like, have you filled in that form? Have you filled in this thing? What is the contracts? Like all these, the request type captures. And legal team also love Jira services because it keeps a complete track record of every single request that they have gone through. And Jira is basically a big data store where you can go through and look back in the past on some of the key decisions you have made, some of the key contracts you have approved. Your legal team can go back when someone asks them for things, like as an audit trail, can go back and pull those out very easily. The next biggest team we see using it is our people team, which is the HR team. So it's pretty funny because when you first join the company, you start with a service desk request, to when you leave the company, you also leave with a service desk request. So basically your whole life is tracked by service desk. But people team uses it very heavily where you, for example, when a new starter joins the company, we create like a new starter sort of request. And then they use automation to actually generate a whole bunch of other small requests that comes out of this one request. So when a new starter joins, you have to give them an account, give them a new laptop, get them a desk. All these small things, service desks have the ability to manage and generate those tickets to the other teams. And then you, as a HR team, I can just look and have one place to track all these things. And lastly, decided to pull some other use cases that we use that are a bit different that you may not know, but we have a team that deals with illustrations and social media requests or like blog ideas. So if you want to post something on Twitter or post something on Facebook at Atlassian, we raise a ticket as well. Or if you want an illustration, all the diagrams and stuff, we raise a ticket as well. So as you can see, it's not just the big traditional teams using it. A lot of the small teams that are not really a social media team, is not really they don't see themselves as a service team, but they all can take advantage of service desk as well. And the great thing about service desk is if all the teams, more and more teams use service desk, our help center centralizes your help inside your organization. So this is our help center. We even give it a shortened URL where it's like go/help. So if you type go/help in our company, you land to this page and you can get help from 130 different teams here. So when we need something from someone and we don't know where to go, we simply just go here, search for or browse for it, and then we can get help. So I talked about different teams using service desks in Atlassian, but I also talked about like enterprise service management. But I think this part I really want to talk about, like talk to a lot of customers, see a lot of implementation. What are some tips I will give to people when they try to implement service desks for a non-technical team? So firstly is to understand how they work and why they work that way. So I see a lot of times when these teams use service desks, they just decide to map out the whole workflow that they are currently using. One of the facilities workplace technology team have like a workflow of like 25 steps to just repair a toilet, which I'm like, why do you need that many steps? But then a lot of the times, these things they're stuck in a world where they actually using an inefficient way of workflow because there's no better way to do it in the past. But this is a good time when you implement a service desk for them to actually rethink, what do I actually really need to do? What are the key steps I need to take? So a lot of the times we tell them to go map out their processes, map out the current process, and then tell them to map out what's your ideal process? What do you want? What's the ideal things you have to do? And then from there they can see the two differences, and then they can work out what to improve on. Secondly, only use functionality needed, don't overcomplicate. Service desks have a lot of functionalities that can help the team work better as a service team, from things like automation, SOAs, I mentioned a lot of them. I always encourage teams to start with just the basic. Just do something simple, get used to it, and then as time goes on, add more and more functionality. I see a lot of teams just diving in, and what the champion of the team go in and like implement all these crazy things. And what happens is half your team will say, oh, this is too hard to do. There's too many things going on. So they will end up not using the tool at all. So it's very important to start basic so the whole team can actually like go into the tool and use it. And then they will slowly realize, okay, wouldn't it be good if we can do this part? Wouldn't it be good if we can track how long this request is taking? Then from this, you can start adding those features on top of service desk. And lastly, very important is actually to have to promote the way of getting help to your organization. After you implement it, it's kind of useless if you just sit there and like hope people will come to you. Usually you should be proactive and go out to your organization, print posters, make cakes, and invite me if you have cake to promote this new way of getting help. Tell the employees of the organizations, hey, by using this new way of using a request form to help out, we can actually provide you faster help. You can be shorter before you have to get your task done, or we can help you with more things. So definitely tell the organizations about this, so more and more people will actually use this new way of getting help. So that's about it since the lightning talk. If you want to talk to me more or check out more about what Jira Service Desk have for these non-technical teams, feel free to come by to our booth, and I'll definitely give you a demo around that area. Or if not, go to our website and check out Jira Service Desk. You can download and try it for free to see if it suits your team as well. So thank you.
We can take a couple of questions if anyone has any. You'll have to shout it out. No questions?
Release date for next major version of Jira Service Desk? Soon. So you heard Jira Software 8.0, so it'll closely follow. Yes. Can't tell you, I'm sorry. You know that.
Another question? Was there one behind you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So that is the latest version on cloud. So we recently just released that on cloud. We're working very hard with the server PM to actually look into what we can take from that version to import it over to server. But if you want it right away, on server there's an add-on called Refine Wiki, Refine Theme. They have a booth upstairs where they allow you to have a customized portal as well. So you can look into that, or you can wait around. But that portal we just released, there's still a lot of things we want to improve on the cloud portal as well. So we definitely have to build that up before server will look into taking it over, because it's a pretty big change in terms of the portal layout and a lot of the small things as well. All right.
Thank you all so much for coming. If you don't mind, please rate this session in the app. Those ratings are very helpful for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.